Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Duncan White NBA podcast. It is currently December 8th. It is December. It's hard for me to comprehend that. So it's very early December 8th, though. I'm recording this at 12 a.m. So, I just finished watching, Bulls versus Thunder game, which is a fantastic game to watch. Just a fun game to watch. And the other game I watched tonight was Bucks versus Warriors. I'll talk a little bit about those games, but in this episode, though, I really do want to hit on a recent article by Bleacher Report talking about how a lot of stars or NBA stars really don't want to play with LeBron James. I also want to talk about the Houston Rockets and how they're struggling right now. I want to talk about how OKC, even though they lost tonight, I still think they're doing a fantastic job. And let me fix my light one sec. And I also want to just kind of catch up with some other stuff. Steph Curry's back, stuff like that. But before we get into any of that, though, make sure you leave a like on this video. Subscribe to my channel, TheSlamDuncan on YouTube for more NBA content. Also, make sure you go follow my Twitter at Duncan_White14. I tweet a lot and do a lot of analysis and stuff like that. So make sure you go follow me on Twitter. Without further ado, let's get into the video after I fix this light here. I don't know what happened. All right. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I don't like my face to be so shiny. So I first want to talk about an article that was released by Bleacher Report. It was a very good article, I thought. I'm going to pull it up here. But there's been this notion a lot recently about how with LeBron James, a lot of like stars that are in their prime, like not like guys like Melo who, they used to be stars, but like stars that are in their prime, they don't, with this whole era of now super teams, you look at the Warriors right now, look at the Philadelphia 76ers, look at the Celtics, you need to have multiple stars on your team to be successful in the NBA now. That's just how it is. The last team I can kind of say that was like built around really one main star was probably the 2011 Dallas Mavericks that won the NBA championship because Dirk was basically the main star on that team, and they had Jason Kidd too. No disrespect to him, but that was like at the end of his career, but he was still a fantastic point guard at that time. But if I could pull up this article, but basically, maybe I can't even find it, but the article was basically saying how just NBA stars now that are currently in their prime, or like they're gonna become stars, or like they're on the verge to becoming one of the best players in the NBA, they don't really want to go team up with LeBron. And there's this notion that because the fact that with LeBron, it's just about LeBron. So even if you you may be one of the best players in the league, but because you're teaming up with LeBron, it's either he gets all the credit if you guys win, or if your team loses, then it all falls onto you, because it's always the narrative is always, oh, LeBron didn't have enough help, but look at all the numbers he put up tonight. He put up 35, 8, and 9. He did everything he could, but he just didn't have enough help from his other guys. But when his team wins, it's always like, look at everything LeBron James is doing to help this team win. He's carrying this team to victory. And if you're the second star, if you're Robin, then like you get no credit at all. And it's just how it is. And I kind of want to really dive into this. And for this episode, I'm going to try to do a little bit shorter. One, because my voice is kind of going, and two, I'm also tired. But I'm going to try to make this a little bit shorter, but no guarantees. But I do really want to dive into this topic because I think this is actually really important for not just for like fans, but also just for like new people coming into, like, when they watch LeBron now, they have to understand what type of player he is, and does he actually make a team better? Like that's where I'm really trying to get to. So I first want to start off by looking at the past couple of seasons, especially in free agency and trades with star players. So I'm actually going to start back. I'm going to start in Miami. So, or I can even start before that. I'll give a little bit of summary. So with LeBron, he was drafted by the Cavs. He made a decision to go to the Miami Heat because he didn't have enough help. He thought, and that's fair. I mean, I'm not gonna get onto him about that because that was the decision. So he teams up with two Hall of Famers. Teams up with two Hall of Famers. Dwayne Wade, one of the best shooting guards of all time, and Chris Bosh. Both D Wade and Chris Bosh, those are two franchise cornerstones. These guys, you can build your team around both those guys. Miami goes to the finals for 4 straight years. All 4 years LeBron's there. They win 2 championships, so they go 2-4. That's good. That's really good. I'm not saying anything about that. But the thing is that look at what happened to. I'm not gonna really point at D Wade because Wade was a little bit older, especially at the end of the Miami run. But I'm really specifically looking at Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh was one of the best power forwards in the NBA before he decided to go team up with LeBron and make that super team. He ended up He ended up at the end of it. He was more just that he was the third option, but he was also kind of that secondary, the secondary scorer, the shooter in the corner. He had to adjust his game so much. I don't want to. I guess it was for the success of the team, but I thought that they could also do a lot better. They could use Chris Bosh a lot better, but they didn't do that. They really just kind of put him in you're the pick and fade guy, and you're the shooter in the corner. You're gonna get rebounds. You're gonna play defense. You're not gonna really be the main guy at any point of this at all, even if LeBron is out. So it just look at Chris Bosh. Look at what happened to his career. And I'm not saying he had a bad career. I'm saying when he got to Miami, his career changed. And was it for the better? Sure. But his career did a major dip. D Wade, his numbers obviously had to take a dip, but I think he still kind of stayed up there. So that was Miami though. So players look at that and they see, okay, when I go play with LeBron, if I'm a star player, who is going to get all the praise? Who's going to get all the credit if we win? But who's going to take all the blame if we lose? If you remember in Miami, LeBron won some MVPs, won 2 finals MVPs. When the team was struggling at the beginning, when they lost to the Dallas Mavericks, a good amount of blame was on LeBron, deservingly so. But do you remember that whole notion that it was the players around him that need to change because they need to adapt? So it was more. I thought it was more just they were blaming everybody else. That they were actually blaming LeBron or LeBron's teammates more than LeBron, and if you're a star player, knowing that you're gonna be second fiddle or second option or whatever, you're gonna get all this blame. That probably doesn't sit with you very well. So that's Miami. Let's move on to Cleveland. Second time around with Cleveland. So before LeBron made that decision to go back to Cleveland, Kyrie Irving was given the keys to the car to the franchise. He just signed a 5-year, $90 million extension. Then LeBron's like, "Hey, I'm gonna come back to Cleveland." So now instead of Kyrie being the boss, he's then now the assistant, and LeBron's now the boss. So if you're Kyrie, you're kind of thinking, okay, maybe I could still be Kyrie Irving. Maybe I could still do everything that I'm so good at. Just be a flat out scorer, but still lead this team. And maybe maybe it'd be 50-50 credit with LeBron because Kyrie doesn't think he's any scrub. Like Kyrie thinks he's probably at the same level as LeBron. And now, obviously, I don't think Kyrie is a better player, but Kyrie's in the top 15 players in the NBA, so he has a right to think like, hey, I deserve a lot of credit if this works. Cavaliers also go out and trade for Kevin Love. We have to remember that Kevin Love was a really good all-star that you could on the Timberwolves that you could actually build your franchise around Kevin Love. That's how good he was on the Timberwolves. People today, if they watch the NBA just for like the past 4 years, they would not know that. Kevin Love has now become, 99 doesn't look as good because of age, but like when he played with LeBron, it wasn't very good either. Like he had to adjust his game, but for what cause? The Cavs won a championship, but it was the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead, but if you remember though, Kyrie Irving had 41 in Game 5. Kyrie Irving hit the game-winning shot in Game 7. Who won Finals MVP? Who do we always talk about at the end? The man who won Finals MVP was named LeBron James, who, yes, he had that amazing block on Andre Iguodala, but did we talk about the fact that Kevin Love had a fantastic defensive stop against Steph Curry last minute, Game 7, 2016 NBA Finals? We don't talk about that at all. We talk about the block. Yeah, we talk about the game-winning shot. Did we talk about the fact that Kyrie Irving basically had to carry the team Game 7 last 2 minutes because LeBron really wasn't doing anything besides he got fouled that one play and he had that block? No, we don't really talk about Kyrie Irving doing that. We talk about LeBron with that block, then almost dunking on Draymond Green. We talk about the fact that he hit that one free throw. We give him all the credit because it's the Cavs and it's his hometown team and everything like that. So, I'm trying to summarize this, and a lot of you probably already know this, that you have to put yourself in the shoes of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. Irving could have easily won Finals MVP in 2016. He didn't. LeBron obviously deserved to win. I'm not saying that LeBron didn't deserve it. I'm just saying Kyrie also deserved to win it, but there's only one. Kevin Love, he went from being a franchise cornerstone to then being the third option. He doesn't give a lot of credit. If you're a star right now in today's NBA game, and, if you're probably willing to team up with guys. Look at the 76ers right now. You got Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler, who are already all-stars, and you got Ben Simmons coming up. All they're willing to be on the same team. They're willing to work together. The main thing is that it's not going to be one person taking all the credit if they win, but then the other stars get all the blame if they lose. It's not like that. They win together collectively, they lose together collectively. It's on all of them if they win or if they lose. They all get the credit if they win. That with LeBron though, that's a completely different story. It's always going to be the narrative that LeBron is always perfect. That no matter what it is, that LeBron can't take any blame for anything because he's the perfect player, best player in the NBA at the moment, blah 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 blah. So that's one part of it. And maybe if you're a star NBA player, you're probably if it's just that, you're probably well, I'm willing to take that and get an NBA championship. Fine. Let's talk about this next part though. This is something that I thought it's something that's very important in all this. So any team that LeBron James goes to, the team is then centered around him. What does LeBron need? He needs shooters on the floor. He needs 3-and-D guys, and he needs that one big center that's gonna defend the rim and run the floor with him, set good screens, but not get the ball all the time. Then he's going to need that secondary ball handler / creator / playmaker on the floor. So if you're Kyrie Irving on the Cavs, so when LeBron comes, right, he brings a bunch of guys with him. The Cavs start making trades. You get J.R. Smith. You get Iman Shumpert. Shooters. Defenders. Nothing really special, though. You get Kyle Korver later. You have Tristan Thompson, who's then thrusted into the center spot. You made the trade for Kevin Love because he's a good shooter. It's not much there. Kyrie Irving's game is very different than LeBron's game, right? And so when LeBron's on the court and he has all these shooters around him, everything looks great because it's LeBron, and then he needs all that space to drive, and so you have all these shooters around. He gets into the lane very well. Kick out, whatever it is, it's usually good. So let's talk about when LeBron James comes off the floor. They usually put then the second best player on whatever team he's on. And for Cavs, it was Kyrie Irving. They usually put Kyrie Irving also. Then they put Kyrie Irving to lead the second unit. And then it's like, oh well, then Kyrie Irving struggles to either keep a lead or extend the lead or like get the team back into the game. And then it's all on Kyrie Irving because the fact that he didn't do his job when LeBron James was out for the 6 minutes of the game. Or the half, I should say. So, but you have to understand that if there's that much pressure on you, as you're the second star, that team that's around you, it's not fit for you. So do you want to get all the blame when the team that's around you does not fit you? Like, if you're Kyrie Irving, the other players that are around you, when LeBron's off the court, they're fit for LeBron's play style. They're not fit for your play style. So there's a reason why when LeBron missed a game or LeBron came out for rest and they put Kyrie Irving to be the main guy, that the Cavs struggled because the fact that the team wasn't built for Kyrie to be the best player he can be, but the team was built for LeBron. So all the blame falls on Kyrie saying, like, you can't lead this team. Well, how can he lead a team that's not built for him? Kyrie needs, while we say, Kyrie Irving does need spacing, but he's a great shooter, but he needs athletic guys with him. He needs guys that's going to run the floor with him. Look at the Boston Celtics right now. You got guys who can shoot, which obviously you need, but you also got defenders around him because, Kyrie is not that great of a defender. He's at least okay. But he needs other guys to help cover up for that side of the ball. So you got Jaylen Brown out there, you got Al Horford, Marcus Smart. Those guys fit well with Kyrie. What do they also do? They also run the floor. They get out in transition. They're athletic. That's the type of players Kyrie Irving needs around him. With LeBron, though, on the Cavs, so when LeBron comes out, you got J.R. Smith, who's just a good shooter. You got guys like Kyle Korver. You got Tristan Thompson, who is a good defender and good rebounder, but he's nothing else really. And that's the other part that Kyrie also needs. He needs the big man to be able to hit that mid-range or extend the floor and maybe hit the three. Look at Al Horford right now. But he also is going to need he also needs that second guy to at least, like another ball handler. Look, and that's Gordon Hayward or Jason Tatum now. But when Kyrie doesn't have all that, he's not going to be the best player he could be, and the team's not going to be very good either. So if you're that second star, do you want to get all that blame because you can't lead the team when LeBron's out? So everyone's going to start blaming you, but what can you do? You're struggling because the team around you is not fit for you. Think about that. So now I kind of want to talk about this past offseason. We kind of all figured that LeBron was going to the Lakers. That kind of was just given. The only other team I really thought had a chance was the 76ers, and I just did not think that would work. So obviously that didn't happen. But I want to talk about the players that had a chance to go team up with LeBron in LA. And that's already, that's a place where a lot of people should be attracted to is LA. So why didn't they go there? So I'm going to start with sorry, my phone's going off. I want to start with Paul George. So obviously, OKC made a trade for Paul George, and everyone thought he already kind of said that he's going to the Lakers if Indiana didn't trade him. So Everyone's like, oh, he's going to the Lakers. And then everyone's like, oh, LeBron's coming too. So they're going to make a super team there. LeBron and Paul George. That's going to be great. Two great wings. You're going to dominate the West. Maybe you beat the Warriors. Who knows? Who knows? So there's that. But what happens this offseason? Paul George decides to stay with OKC. Why? Think why, though. He said because he trusts Russell Westbrook. He trusts the teams, the rest of the team around him. Why, though? Because Russell Westbrook is not going to take all the credit. Even though he's an MVP, he's not going to take all the credit if the team wins. It's a team win, and he's also going to take the blame if the team loses. It's not going to all be on Paul George, who now knows that he's basically Robin to Westbrook's Batman, but he's a very good Robin to Westbrook's Batman. The other thing is the fact that Westbrook and George, their playstyles work very well with each other, and if either one is off the floor and the other one's on the floor, the team around them is built very well. If you think with Paul George, he always needs a point guard that can create shots for not just him, but the other teammates around him, because that's going to open up more shots for Paul George, who is a good catch-and-shoot guy, who can also run the pick and roll with zipper screen action. Stuff like that, that's what Paul George needs. So you have either Westbrook on the floor, who's already a fantastic playmaker, but then when you take Westbrook out and you still leave George out there, now you have Dennis Schroeder coming off the bench, who can create his own shot, create shots for others, run the pick and roll, get guys open shots. That's what Paul George needs. So the team around him, it fits him well. Why would Paul George leave? To go to a Lakers squad with LeBron, but when he goes to it's also LA, but if he goes teams up with LeBron anywhere, it's going to be the fact that, if the Lakers are struggling, they're going to blame Paul George. Why? Because he's not helping LeBron enough, because LeBron's put up all these crazy stat lines. Paul George probably doesn't want that, especially in his hometown. And even if that happened, it's going to take, chemistry is going to take a bit. You're going to get losses that you probably shouldn't at the beginning of the season. Lakers have had some already this season. So if Paul George went team up with LeBron and they're taking L's, LeBron's not going to get the blame. It's going to be Paul George getting the blame. Do you think he wants that? Chris Paul. That's the next person I want to talk about. Granted, the Rockets just had that amazing run in the playoffs, which now the Rockets are struggling. I'll get to that later. But with Chris Paul, he's been staying. He stayed with the Rockets on a crazy deal, which I didn't agree with how much money he's getting. But he had a chance to go team up with his banana boat buddy in LA, and he's already been in LA life with the Clippers. Why do you think he didn't go? Well, you could say, well, they had a fantastic playoff run. He was playing with the MVP of the league, and why would he leave that? Because they're probably going to want to beat the Warriors the next year. Well, okay, let me ask you this question: who's better, LeBron James or James Harden? While I agree that LeBron James is better, Chris Paul is probably thinking, well, with my age, I'm not as good as I used to be. I'm still very good, but if I go team with LeBron, I'm gonna get a lot of blame because I can't do as much as I used to, and I'm gonna get a lot of the blame for any L's that we take. Think he wants that? Not to mention the fact that the Lakers, with their young squad, that they don't really know what identity they are without LeBron. So for any star that has to lead a second unit, I don't even know what the Lakers really are. Do you think that a secondary star playing next to LeBron wants to figure that out by himself? I want to talk about also Kawhi Leonard and him saying that, well, when he requested a trade from San Antonio, he listed he said he wanted to go to LA because he's from California. Well, he didn't say the Lakers, though. He said the Clippers. He also then said New York, which makes sense. He wants to go play in a bigger market. But he didn't want to play with the Lakers. Why? Because LeBron's there. Not to mention the fact that Kawhi Leonard was a player that won the 2014 Finals MVP, who shut down LeBron in that Finals. Do you think he really wants to go play with LeBron when he knows that he can be a franchise cornerstone, when he's probably the best two-way player in the league, but he's going to go team up with the best player in the league, and then he's going to either get all the blame if they lose, but then he's not going to get any credit if they win? Do you think Kawhi Leonard really wants that? Especially when he's trying to build his brand now. The reason why he left San Antonio is to build his brand and play in a bigger market, get more national television time. Do you really think he wants to go to a team that he's the second best player on? And there's probably only 2 teams that he'd be the second best player on? Like, if you're Kawhi Leonard, you don't want that. And everyone's thinking like, well, that'd be a crazy good team. Because if you think with the teams that have won, look at the Chicago Bulls in the 90s. You had 2 great wing players who played both sides of the ball very well that were all-stars. They dominated the league. Okay, yeah, that's true. With LeBron and Kawhi, 2 great wing players play both sides of the ball. You think they dominate the league, but is it helping Kawhi though? Who now this may sound selfish for these players, but do you really want to add more to LeBron's legacy? Because even if you go on and win championships, you're not, the narrative's not going to be that Kawhi Leonard helped LeBron James win the championship. It's going to be LeBron James won another championship. It's not going to be Kawhi Leonard won another championship. So basically, you're just adding on to LeBron's legacy. You're not adding on to anything to your legacy. They're just going to talk about you teamed up with LeBron James. That's the other part of this, is that with players, they don't want to go on LeBron's team because the narrative is just going to be LeBron won another championship. It's not going to be LeBron and Kawhi or LeBron and Paul George or LeBron and Chris Paul. It's going to be LeBron won another championship. You're just adding to his legacy. Do you really want to do that? Do you really just want to be in the shadow? So my point is with this, and you could also talk about this with Jimmy Butler. He said he wanted to go to the Clippers. He didn't say he wanted to go to the Lakers. I'm very interested to see if Klay Thompson says, he's probably going to stay in Golden State in my opinion, but I'm interested to see what he says because he could easily want to go to the Lakers because he's from there. Kevin Durant, same thing, but Katie was also talking about in the article how there's so much pressure and everything. If he was saying if you're a role player, yeah, you probably want to go play with LeBron, but if you're a star, you probably don't want to go play with LeBron because he doesn't make you better, and I'll get to that very quickly. But my point is that do you want to add more to LeBron's legacy? So what I want people to kind of think about is if you think that players are stupid for making bad decisions, making these decisions to not go team up with LeBron James because you're like, oh, this man's been to the finals for 8 straight years. Why would you not go team up with him? Do you want to be the second star on the team? Do you want to take all the blame if you guys lose? Do you want to get no credit if you guys win? Do you want to run a second unit that's not built for you? Do you want to add more to LeBron James' legacy and add nothing to yours? Think about that. I also want to get to one more part of this before I move on to the Rockets. This whole thing that LeBron James makes everyone better on the court, this needs to kind of also stop. Now I'm going to talk about not just role players, but also star players too. And everyone's going to be like, well, if you're a star player, you have to adjust your game. Okay, that's true. But I also have another argument for that. Yes, LeBron James gets a lot of assists every night. Yes, LeBron does a lot of things on the court. Yes, he can get guys open for shots and creates plays for others. He's unselfish, sure. Does he make everybody better, though, on the court? Does he raise their level of play? Look at Kevin Love. Look at Chris Bosh. Did they become better or did they become worse? Now, yes, they were the third star. But did LeBron add more to their game? Did LeBron subtract stuff from their game? Does LeBron make Kyle Korver better on the court? I could argue no. Yeah, everyone's going to say, well, he gets some open shots. Sure, but that's the job of any point guard is to get your shooter more open shots. I don't think Kyle Korver did anything spectacular in Cleveland besides just hit threes. Kyle Korver's been hitting threes his entire career. Did he make Kyle Korver better? Did he make Kyle Korver better? Think about that. Look at other guys on the team that LeBron, like other guys that LeBron has played with. Were they anything spectacular? Did he have career years? Does LeBron really make players better? Or does he bring drama to a team? Does he expect a lot from every player? Look at the Lakers right now. The only player that you can really say that like LeBron has helped is Kyle Kuzma. But Kuzma had a fantastic rookie season. He hasn't helped Lonzo Ball, and I don't think Lonzo's going to be anything spectacular in general. But, you know, everyone's thinking like, oh, Lonzo and LeBron, that's going to work out so well. What I don't know, the people that said that, they need to rethink how they analyze basketball. Because Lonzo's not a shooter. Everyone's like, oh, but he's going to get more open shots now, so everything's going to work out fine. And I'm like, I don't know what you're thinking. Lonzo can't shoot. It's not going to work. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope just a shooter. He was a shooter last year. I don't see how LeBron has helped them. LeBron really, like everyone thinks he helps everybody, all the players get better. It's just the fact that he's a star. Stars make other players look better, right? Stars make the team look better because they're stars and they're such great talents. Do they really make other players better though? I don't think so. If you disagree, you know, go ahead and leave that in the comments, and I'm more than willing to hear other people's opinions, and I'll reply respectfully. I'm not trying to spark anger or anything like that. So I do want to move on to the Rockets, and I just talked 30 minutes about LeBron. Whoops. So Rockets, they got beat down by the Utah Jazz Thursday night, and oh my goodness, it's an issue. So, Kenny the Jet Smith on TNT brought up a good question, and the question was, which Texas team is worse right now? Or who are you more concerned about? The Spurs or the Rockets? It's actually a tough question, but like as of right now, I'm more concerned about the Rockets because, man, they got a lot of issues going on. I want to talk about that game on Thursday night against the Jazz. Rudy Gobert gets ejected 3 minutes into that game. So the Utah Jazz best defender, best rim protector in the league is gone. He's out of the game. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know, the Rockets, like, yeah, they're in enemy territory, but like they could pull this off. Make sure you drive to the rim a lot because you don't have Rudy Gobert to worry about anymore. So you got to draw a lot of fouls. You got to get layups, make good cuts, get dunks. That didn't happen. I don't know why it didn't happen. Rockets are very capable of that. They showed that last year. I might get very upset in this segment, so just be prepared. This whole notion that the Rockets are having these issues that because Ariza and Ba Mute are off the team, that needs to stop right now. I don't want to hear any more of that from anybody who is talking, like, play-by-play people to people that are analysts. I don't want to hear that the Rockets' struggles are on Ariza and Ba Mute's exits. When are we going to start holding players that are on the team, on the Rockets right now, accountable for their play? And I'm specifically looking at the former MVP, James Harden. This man is an MVP. We just named this man the most valuable player in basketball last season. Yet we can't hold him accountable. Like, there is nothing being said bad about James Harden right now in this entire Rockets situation. It's all on like Chris Paul that he's getting old and Ba Mute and Ariza are gone. We're not talking about that James Harden is not leading his team. Like, why aren't we talking about that? This man is the MVP, most valuable player. Yet we're saying that, oh, it's not on him, it's on Chris Paul, or it's on Mike D'Antoni, who I think is actually doing a bad job right now. Not going to lie. But we can't just blame it on Chris Paul's health or his age or the fact that the Rockets have no depth. This man is the MVP. When is he going to be accountable? I need like this thing needs to be addressed though, because James Harden Thursday night was pissing me off a lot because everyone talks about Westbrook being a ball hog, John Wall being a ball hog. We need to talk about James Harden being a ball hog and a really bad ball hog. It's basically like if you're going to play like any like a pickup game, you have like the main guy who he just wants to show off his dribble moves. Like that's James Harden right now. No one's talking about that. I don't know why. I don't know what people aren't seeing, but we need to talk about James Harden being an issue. Like we think Westbrook's a ball hog. I want to actually like I don't understand that sometimes, and everyone's like, oh, but you're just looking at the assists. I'm like, no, I'm not just looking at the assists. I'm saying that Westbrook trusts his teammates. Like, Westbrook is trying to make plays for others, and he trusts his teammates. With James Harden, what I saw Thursday night, he would dribble the ball up the court, use all 8 seconds to get past the half-court line, and then he'll just kind of do some dribble movement at the top of the key. Nobody else is moving on offense, so that's also on D'Antoni and the rest of the players. But then they run a simple pick-and-roll and Clint Capella. They get nowhere, and so Harden has still not passed the ball or picked up his dribble. He's still dribbling the ball. He is so far every single second of the shot clock. So he's still dribbling, runs the pick and roll, and nothing happens. It's either he kicks it out to some, like, either Eric Gordon or whoever else is on the court, say, bail me out here, and they usually miss the three-point shot because it's a bad possession, or he either tries to get to the rim or, like, tries to draw a stupid foul because he flops all the time, or he turns the ball over, which happened so many times on Thursday night. And we're not saying that James Harden's a ball hog. I have a question for you right now. Who would you rather play with? Russell Westbrook or James Harden? I'll give you my opinion. I want to play with a guy who's going to at least give me 110% every single night and try to win the game, who I know is going to run through a wall with me. I would not want to play with a guy who likes to just show off his dribbling skills and then gets most of his points by drawing fouls that really aren't even fouls. He just kind of flops and just runs into into guys to draw the foul, who also just dribbles constantly, uses basically 20 seconds of the shot clock just dribbling, and then they'll kick it to me, and I have to shoot it, and it's, bad shot on me. Also, not to mention, this man doesn't play defense at all. Yet, this man just you can't criticize this man. You can't criticize James Harden for some odd reason. I would rather play with Russell Westbrook, who's I know is going to give me 110% every single night. And yes, everyone's saying stat padding and everything like that. Have you watched OKC games? It's not like he's really trying to get all these rebounds or assists. He is just going at the opponent 110% and giving his all, and he's making the right basketball plays. With James Harden, he gets triple doubles, he gets assists and points. But, like, it's just a bunch of dribbling around, and then he'll kind of get the foul, or he'll somehow hit a three-point shot. Because, don't get me wrong, Harden's talented. But, is he a good team player? James Harden doesn't play defense. And last year, I thought he at least did a decent job. Teams can hide a bad defender. Like, at least one bad defender. And I'm fine with that. But my issue is that you have to, if you're going to be a bad on-ball defender, which Harden's basically just a traffic cone, so you can just go right around him. But that's I can live with that if you're scoring like 30 points at the other end. But you also have to at least play good off-ball defense and do rotations right. That's something the Rockets did very well last year. They're not doing that this year. And that doesn't even mean, like, Ariza and Bahamute would not help in that situation. Like, they'll help a little bit, like, on ball, but, like, rotations, that's everybody. It's not just two people, it's everybody. And something Harden's not doing at all this year. That's the reason why the Rockets defense is so trash, too. Like, Harden doesn't play. He's basically just a traffic cone out there. I'm just saying that the media, the narrative, and everything like that, they need to stop saying Ariza and Bahamute are the reasons why the Rockets are playing bad right now. When are we going to address the real issue? And I think there's really three real issues. One is Harden, who's not playing like an MVP at all. You could even argue that he shouldn't have gotten MVP last year if he really wanted to, but I think just due to overall record, you had to give it to him. But he is not playing well at all. He's not playing efficiently. He's not playing within the team. He's being very selfish, and no one's saying anything about it. And we think Westbrook's selfish. I want you to think about that. 2 is Mike D'Antoni. The Rockets are still doing the switch everything defense. That worked very well last year. And now this is where I think Ariza and Mbah a Moute will come into play, is that they can guard basically anybody on the court, but they're not the entire offense and they're not the entire defense. You can't blame it on 2 guys. But the switch everything defense, that is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen before, especially with the Clint Capella. Like, you can do so much on defense and not to switch with Clint Capella in the back. I would rather blitz. If I'm the Rockets, I would blitz any pick and roll. I would not switch everything. Like, if you think about it, with the Rockets, if a screener comes up to screen everybody, they can go like, whew, they just blow on any defender and they switch immediately. They don't even have to make contact. It's an immediate switch. That is not good. It's not working this year. It worked last year, but teams figured it out this year. They're like, okay, if you're going to switch and put Chris Paul and Anthony Davis, then I'm just going to put Anthony Davis in the post. How do I get that switch though? Oh, just run a little down screen, because then they switch and they put Clint Capella then on Drew Holiday. And then Drew Holiday throws it to Anthony Davis in the post. Very simple. Clear out the floor. Anthony Davis, 2 points. It's very simple. And I don't know why the Rockets haven't gone away from that. So Mike D'Antoni is that. And 3, I'm kind of blaming stuff on Daryl Morey right now. He needs to figure out what he's really doing. Because he tried trading for Jimmy Butler, and I think people thought like they would actually get him because it's like, oh, he's going to be our savior. He's going to fix the defense. He's going to be another star, another ball handler, another playmaker for us. No, you didn't get him. So now what do? I mean, you just have the MVP. You should be fine. I had expectations for the Rockets. I said that for the Rockets this year, I had them at 2 or 3 seed. But I had the Warriors just winning the championship easily. But I said though that the Oklahoma City Thunder would be there, and I think that they could be better than the Rockets. And I did say Ariza and Mbah a Moute will have an effect. Like, their exits will have a big effect on them. But the way that the Rockets are playing right now, I did not think they'd be this bad, but they're this bad for a reason. They lack depth right now, which is on Daryl Morey, but like, come on, man. The Warriors are lacking depth right now. And the Warriors had Draymond Green and Steph Curry out, but at least they're playing competent. Yes, they have Kevin Durant, but you have James Harden. Yes, they have Klay Thompson. You have Chris Paul. They don't have a Clint Capella. It frustrates me when I think blame is being shifted to like Chris Paul's health. Like, this is not on Chris Paul. I mean, part of it's you can say part of it's on Chris Paul, and like I'd be okay with it. But like, what is Chris Paul supposed to do? He's doing basically everything he did last year. But this Rockets team as a whole, everyone is deserving of blame. It's not just one player. It's not just the exits of Ariza and Mbah a Moute. It needs to be on everybody, including James Harden. I'm just shocked by how people think that James Harden is like is a team player and he's gonna get everybody involved. He creates shots for others. Like, this man just does dribble, pass, bail me out, or dribble, turnover, dribble, bad shot, try to get the foul, flopping. Makes me shake my head. Rockets are really struggling, and it's either the media or it's the Rockets that are gonna fix their issue and address it, or at least realize what their issue is. Alright, sorry for getting animated. Well, I've already talked for a long time. Whoops. Okay. I'm gonna end this video with Bulls. I'm probably gonna be making another video just why Fred Hoiberg was fired and my thoughts on it, but like make it shorter, because I did like a 40-minute video on just the whole Fred Hoiberg firing, and that I didn't expect to talk that long. But I want to talk about Jim Boylen and what the Bulls are doing and how impressed I've been. So I want to reiterate some points that I made in my video that came out, I think, Tuesday about Fred Hoiberg being fired. Yeah, I think it was Tuesday. Yeah. So, I want to start out by saying it was John Paxson who made the official decision to fire Fred Hoiberg. And I think personally that when John Paxson makes any decision, it's better for the Bulls. I think, like from the beginning of 27, or really just let's start like back in, I don't know when it really all started. Maybe it was like 2011, 2012, up until like the Jimmy Butler trade. I think Gar Forman was in charge of the Bulls' decision making, and I think John Paxson even said like he's taking a step back. The Jimmy Butler trade happened. I think that was on. I think Paxson made that decision too, and I think that's when he's like, I'm gonna be making the decisions again. I'm gonna be the final decision maker. I'm the vice president of basketball operations. I should be the person making the final decision. And I think ever since Paxson has taken over the front office again, I think the Bulls have been doing better. Look at them now. We have to remember that Gar Forman was the one that really wanted Fred Hoiberg to come in and change the offense. He really wanted to hire Fred Hoiberg to be the coach. Paxson just kind of agreed with it. You know, there wasn't really anything special with Paxson. Paxson wasn't really raving about Hoiberg a lot. So when Paxson decided to make that move to fire Fred Hoiberg, I'm like, okay, I think this is actually a good thing. There's a lot of outlash going on amongst even Bulls fans, but a lot of other coach like Steve Kerr talked about it, and a lot of just reaction around the league that Fred Hoiberg never really had a fair chance to coach the Bulls. Sure, you could say that. I agree with you in a sense. Yes, he didn't have all of his players healthy this season, so I was actually expecting the Bulls to keep him around until like everyone's healthy. Get Markkanen done, Portis back, and then run like 20 games with them all healthy. And if the Bulls don't improve, then you'd fire Hoiberg. But Paxson decided to make that decision early and say like, no, we need a culture change now, and I think that was a good move. But I will say though, the argument against that Hoiberg never had a fair chance. All great head coaches, they adapt to their players. They figure out ways to use their players to the best potential. Look at Greg Popovich with LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMarcus, his first 3 years in San Antonio, or maybe it was 2 years, like he thought that he wasn't being utilized very well. He had a long talk with Greg Popovich, and because he was saying that he wanted to get traded out of San Antonio, he had a long talk with Greg Popovich, and Popovich's like, man, this is on me. I did not use LaMarcus Aldridge at all to his best capabilities. So what did he do then last season? He changed the offense, and LaMarcus Aldridge was an all-star again. And LaMarcus was dominating the post, getting to his spots well, and it's all because Greg Popovich decided to adapt. And Greg Popovich is such a great coach that he can adapt like that. So while Hoiberg never had his team that that could play Hoy ball, he, as head coach, needs to adapt and use his players the proper way. Use them to their strengths. Don't use them to do something that they're not very good at. And that's something he didn't do. That's where I'm like, sure, he didn't have a fair chance because he didn't have all of his players that he wanted. But did he adapt to the players that he had on the team? I don't think he did. So, moving on from that, though, I want to talk about Jim Boylen and his so far 2 games as head coach for the Bulls. He got his first win tonight in Chicago. So his record is 1-1. But in just 2 games, though, I have seen such a big difference in the Bulls, and I'm shocked by how much of a difference I'm seeing. And it's not just one thing. Mostly everyone's going to be pointing at the defense. And it's kind of weird because Jim Boylen was in charge of the defense under Hoiberg, but I guess Hoiberg just never stressed defense at all. Like, he was stressing offense and offense and offense. He never stressed defense and the importance of defense and the importance of putting effort on defense. That's something that Jim Boylen is really going to do, and I love it. I love when teams play good defense. And the Bulls have been playing I guess the Pacers, it was good defense. Like, I guess OKC was okay. I say it was solid. but it's much better than it ever was under Hoiberg. The defense now is looking very, very good. With rotations, guys, at least closing out on shooters, running off guys off the 3-point line, contesting shots. It's the effort is there. Everything is looking very good on defense, and I'm very, very happy about that. I think with Hoiberg, he just never stressed that at all, and he just never. I don't even know if he even like practiced defense. Like there's at points where I'm just like, guys look lost. They don't know what they're doing. Under Jim Boylen, guys know like they're reading the scouting report. It looks like they know that they're doing KYP, know your personnel, and guys know whether to go under a screen, whether to hedge, and that's what you need to do, and to have a good defense. And not only that, but to also talk with your teammates. You gotta talk and communicate with each other to have good defense, and it's looking really good. And the past 2 games, Jabari Parker doesn't look like a liability on defense anymore. And with Jabari, I'm not saying go and guard the best player, but at least play good team defense. And that's what he's doing very well in these past 2 games. So there's that. Like, it's just the effort is there. The rotations are on point. That's what was missing under Hoiberg. And Jim Boylen has changed that Bulls defense, and it's looking really good. Offensively, I'm noticing a lot more. The Bulls are focusing more on trying to get into the paint, because good things happen when you get into the paint. And that was something that I think Hoiberg was so big on the 3-ball that like he never really stressed getting into the paint, posting up, and taking advantage of mismatches. That was something I was really pointing at with Jim Boylen when he became head coach. I was saying, like, I think Jim Boylen, because he was an assistant coach under Greg Popovich, he will take advantage of mismatches on like a switch or anything. He would put Larry Markkinen into the post if he has a small guy on him. That's something Hoiberg never did. And so I've been noticing that. I'm noticing they're getting into the paint more, and when they get into the paint, good things are happening. You either get a layup or you kick it out to the 3-point shot, and it's a wide open, set 3-point shot. It's not like you're moving or you don't get your feet set. It's a good 3-point shot. It's within the flow of the offense. It's in rhythm. That's the difference between Hoiberg's 3-point shots and Jim Boylen's 3-point shots. And the Bulls now, they have more variety to their offense. That's something that I think the NBA as a whole is kind of not understanding. You need to have variety in your offense. If you don't have variety, then a team defense could be like, oh, they're just going to shoot threes, so we're just basically run them off the 3-point line. Or they're like, oh, they only score on sides, so back off of basically everybody so they can't get into the lane. You need to have variety on offense, or else you're going to get guarded up like every single night. And that's something that the Warriors do very well, is that, yes, you have Steph Curry's the best shooter of all time. Yes, you have Klay Thompson, but Steph Curry's good in the pick and roll. Kevin Durant is a great post-up player and also great mid-range shot, and he can also get a shot against anybody in isolation. Like, that's variety. You need that. And the Bulls now, they have so much variety. They can get into the paint very well, especially with Zach LaVine. Then you have Larry Markkinen out there. Like, you need variety, and that's good. And under Hoiberg, it was just a bunch of like, all right, dribble weave handoffs, chuck up a 3, or make a back cut that does really nothing, or pick and roll, Zach LaVine bail us out. Like, it was too simple. Like, I could basically, right when the Bulls like threw it to like either Justin Holiday or like or Archidiakono on the wing under Hoiberg, I'm like, I already know what the play is. I already know what the action is going to be. And that's bad. For me, like, I should not know what the play is. Under Boylen, there's a lot of new plays, so, obviously I don't know them all, but, like, I don't know what's coming every single time down the floor. And that's what you need. You need to have that variety. You need to keep defenses at bay, because you don't want defenses to know, like, all right, they're going to run this play now, or they're going to run this action. You need to keep changing it up. And the third thing is, on offense, is the Bulls are not pushing pace so much. Like, obviously, on a fast break, if you get a steal, or it's you get a rebound, there's guys running down. Obviously you want to get the guys the ball, wide open dunks and everything like that. But I'm just saying, off like a normal rebound or like even just a made shot, they're not like pushing the pace. They're slowing it down, and they're using all 24 seconds of the shot clock. So they're making defenses guard them for 24 seconds. Defenses have to guard. Usually defenses can stop the first action or the second action or the third action, but can they stop the fourth, fifth, and sixth actions? That's the difference. And a lot of defenses, they can't. If you draw in a lot of guys, then you kick it out. Instead of just always chucking up a three because they're probably going to be able to defend that, are you going to make that extra pass and then drive again? Because then the defense is going to be completely collapsed and there's not going to be anybody in the paint to stop you. That's the difference. You need to have those fourth, fifth, and sixth actions to deflate the other team's defense because they can't guard on that. And Jim Boylen has used that from Greg Popovich's philosophy that teams have to guard you for a full 24 seconds, not just like 14 seconds or not just 7 seconds or less. And I think I like that they're making defenses guard them. It's not just a simple 3-point shot coming up or a pick and roll set that has nobody else moving. Like, it's a lot of movement on offense, a lot of down screens, a lot of stagger screens, a lot of different looks that you don't know what's coming at you next. And rotation-wise for Boylen, I think he's done a very good job. Justin Holiday's getting a lot of minutes, I will say, but I like the different lineups he's putting out there on the floor. He's having consistency with at least having some guys that are good defenders out there, and also then you have your scorers. One thing that I was actually kind of shocked at was Hutchison and Parker were playing together today, along with Shaq Harrison and Cameron Payne. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I don't even know if I've really even seen this lineup yet, because usually Hutchison and Parker, they kind of switch off. But now that they're both on the bench, I'm like, okay, it's a different look now. And if you go down the list, and it's like, all right, Cameron Payne's more offensive, Shaq Harrison is defensive, and then Hutchison's defensive, Parker's offensive, and then you have somebody in the paint. And Robin Lopez played very well against OKC. So all that stuff that's good. You need that balance on the floor for both ends, and you don't want to have so many offensive guys but then have no defense. So I've been very impressed with Jim Boylen as head coach in just 2 games. The Bulls are a different team. They have a different identity now, and really I should say that they have an identity. Under Hoiberg, I didn't know what they were trying to do. It was like, obviously you're thinking Hoiberg, like, oh, that's their identity, but like there are times where I'm just like, I don't know what Hoiberg is. It's just a bunch of dribble weave action and handoffs, and I'm just like, we're not really getting anywhere. It's the same. They'll run different plays, but like it looks the same. Under Boylen, they've been running a lot of different looks. At the beginning of the Pacers game, they were running a lot of horn sets, but then at the end of the Pacers game, they were running a lot of down screens. It's different throughout the game. Under Hoiberg, it's just, again, like what I said, dribble weave handoffs. That's all it was, and now it looks a lot different. There was even a play Boylen ran. I think he ran it multiple times against the Pacers with Arcidiacono. I think he ran like once or twice today against the Thunder, but it looks like a Spurs play, and I was actually kind of shocked to see that, because it was an action that I've never seen at all this season by the Bulls. And with the Spurs, with Tony Parker, especially in his prime, what they use Tony Parker so well. And what would happen is that he would bring it up court, he'll pass it off to either, like, it was Danny Green mostly at the time. But what he'll do, it was a swing action, but then once he passed it off to the wing, he would go and run through 3 stagger screens. So he'll run through a Tim Duncan, Thiago Splitter, Kawhi Leonard, come out on the other side, and then Tim Duncan will come and get the ball at the top of the key and swing it over to Tony Parker. But what that does, though, is that there's so much movement going around all at once that you have to keep track of where Tony Parker is, but then where the big men are who are already in the paint, and then you have to worry about the wing players too, who one of them set the screen, but then now they're moving again. Now that opens up a lot of space for cuts and everything, and it's like I have not seen that at all from the Bulls, and it works so effectively because you're in constant motion. So once those guys set the screen for the point guard, or in this case it was Zach LaVine, like they all of a sudden they're threats to either get the ball down low or to make a back cut and set like a rip screen for a cutter to get to the rim. They're all of a sudden they're in positions to do something with that makes them a threat, and that was something the Bulls never did. And it looks so good now to have a Popovich type play being run for the Bulls under Boylen. And that's where I think Boylen, everyone's thinking, well, he hasn't ever been a head coach before. Well, he was assistant coach under one of the best coaches of all time. And if you look at all the assistant coaches under Greg Popovich that have become now head coaches, Mike Budenholzer, James Borrego, Brett Brown, they're good head coaches now. And that's where I'm like, the Bulls can actually don't keep Hoiberg, keep Boylen for a long time. And I think he's gonna help develop the players very well, and just change the team. He's already changed the team's identity to be that we're gonna come at you, we're gonna fight hard on defense. We may not be the best defensive team, but we're gonna give it all on defense. And on offense, you have to guard us for 24 seconds. You have to guard us at all times, or else we're going to take advantage of anything that you give us. And the final thing that I think is very important that Boylen has done is that he's building good winning habits. This is the one thing that I'm like, as Boylen, like if Boylen doesn't do anything else, I'm just saying, please build good winning habits for this young squad, because this young squad is just, they're still learning. Then none of the players are in their prime yet. So when it comes to their prime, I want them to have good winning habits. That's what they're doing right now. Especially when everyone gets back, already implementing that defense is important to at least give effort and guard the opponent as a team. That's good winning habits. And getting your rotations right, good winning habits. Securing the defensive rebound, good winning habits. Then on offensive end, you gotta make sure you're always moving. Again, that's a good habit. Make sure you run the play. Make sure everyone's on the same page. But then make the other team guard you for 24 seconds, and take advantage of anything the other team gives you. Mismatches, or they fall asleep or something. If they can't guard the pick and roll, make sure you're aware of it and keep running the pick and roll. Or if the other team's in foul trouble, make sure you take advantage of that. Try to get them in more foul trouble. Or if the other team's like already over the limit and you're in the bonus, you have to be aware of that. Try drawing more fouls. Take advantage of what the other team gives you, and they did that so well against the Pacers and the Thunder, and I've been very pleasantly surprised. And if this keeps up, which I seriously hope it does, and I think it just gets better with getting Bobby Portis, your energy guy, back, your sixth man back, and getting Chris Dunn, your bulldog, back, which they could be playing today, really, the 8th, against the Celtics. Like, that's going to be awesome. And, with the Bulls, because they've lost so many games, I'm not expecting playoffs, but I'm just saying I don't want the team to tank. I think just that itself is already a bad habit to do, intentionally lose games, and I can't stand the idea of tanking. But for the Bulls, I'm just saying play good basketball for the rest of the season, win or loss, be in every single game, give yourself a chance every single night by playing the right way. If you do that, this season is a success. It's year 2 of the rebuild. Guys are just starting to get it going. We're just starting to get guys back, so that's why the record looks so bad. And also, we still had Hoiberg as coach. But under Boylen, I'm just saying, just play the right way, be in every single game, try to give yourself a chance to win every single night. If you win, it's awesome. You win. But if you lose the game, it's okay if you play the right way. That's all I want from the Bulls from here on out. And from just 2 games, I think that's going to happen. I just don't want to see another like 50-point blowout against the Warriors, or we just played the Thunder, who are one of the hottest teams in the league, and I think is the second best team in the West, and we beat them. So I mean, like, if you're able to do that, because if you hang around, if you play good defense, and you hang around, you're gonna have a chance, and that's what happened tonight. You took advantage of that chance. So now against the Celtics, and now I'm looking like at teams like the Raptors and the 76ers. You have to always try to be in the game. And today against the Celtics, I'm really looking at that. It's off a back-to-back, so the second game of the back-to-back, at least you're at home. But just, is the effort going to be there? Is the energy going to be there? Are you going to be able to consistently run good offense? No, don't get stagnant and everything like that. And I think Boylen can do that, and I really hope he can do that. So I want to give a round of applause to Jim Boylen. He has changed this Bulls team for the good. Like, it amazes me what one coach can do to 15 players. Like, I'm shocked by how well the Bulls look. Yes, they took that L to Indiana, but like, they just ran out of gas. And Boylen has even said, we're going to get our conditioning better. And that's a good head coach, knowing what your team needs, what happened, and what they can improve on, and how they can improve every single game. And doing that, winning habits, Bulls are looking good for the future. So I have talked long enough, and my voice is going, and it's late, and I'm exhausted. So on that note, thank you guys so much for watching this hour and 6-minute long episode. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to cut down on the time. And I'm trying to make shorter videos for my YouTube channel, but like, when I talk basketball, I have a lot to talk about. I analyze a lot. So I'm sorry for going very long. Make sure you leave a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for more NBA content. TheSlamDuncan. Make sure you go follow me on Twitter at Duncan_White14. And I tweet a lot on there. Make sure you follow me. And I know I've said that this will be on Google Play Music and iTunes and podcast.com. I'm still working that out right now. I'm still trying to figure out how I can get that up there, and I've been also really busy, so I do hope I could get that up at some point on there, so you guys can listen to it and not always go to YouTube to listen. But I really don't know. It's really tough right now, but I'm gonna try to get that up sooner or later. Hopefully by January. We'll see. And I just do also want to say, just in these past 2 weeks have been kind of like a reality check for me. And I just want to say I greatly appreciate you guys that are watching, and those of you that have subscribed. But I just want to say that I am so grateful for my opportunity and just having the ability to do what I love, and that's analyze sports, and especially basketball. Past 2 weeks, I've been kind of seeing a lot of people going through some really tough stuff. And on NBA TNT, Tyler, who was there, he's been diagnosed with terminal cancer. It's just, I think it was like 2.5 months to live. And it was just a reality check. Like, man, this man is probably not going to ever live out his dream of becoming whatever he wanted to be. But I'm just so grateful that I have the opportunity to have this ability to not only just get all my equipment and everything, but just have the ability to even do this. Life is short, and it's just these past 2 weeks with some of my friends and what's going around, like, it's just a big reality check. And I just want to say I'm so grateful for this opportunity to do this. And I also just want you guys to know, like, this, like, I don't want this to be about me. I'm not trying to brag here about not being selfish, but like, I don't want to be a selfish person. I don't think I am selfish, and I try not to be selfish. I don't want this to always be about me, but I want this to be about you guys too, and just doing, just listening. If you enjoy it, then that's awesome for you. Um, and for everybody out there, just try to understand that some people don't ever get an opportunity that you may have, and it's hard for a lot of people. So just try to be, just try to, you know, just appreciate what you have, and the opportunities that you're given. And for those of you that are going out, and having a lot of hard times, and I know a lot of my friends have been having some hard times. Just know that any situation that you have is not, you don't, you have other people around you to help you. You don't have to face every problem alone. I just want people to be good people for this world. So I don't want to get into extremely deep talk, but I just want to say, try to be a good person out there and help others. It goes a long way. So on that note, long video, but this is Duncan White signing up for now.